And we have 3 different sports media figures that have released their all-star ballots, and Angel Reese is nowhere to be seen. She's not involved.
Angel Reese didn't just get snubbed. She got completely shut out of the All-Star conversation, not as a starter, not even as a reserve. And this is despite being one of the most talked about names in the entire league. She went out of her way, telling fans to vote, hyping it on socials, pushing her support base hard. But the numbers, they told a very different story. Angel finished 13th in fan voting, just over 173,000 votes, a massive gap compared to the players leading the charts. This is the same Angel Reese that the media once anointed as the next big thing, with Forbes literally placing her name next to Aja Wilson, branding her one of the faces of the WNBA. So how did we go from being the future of the league to being completely overlooked when it counted?
And Angel Reese being the face of the WNBA, you would think Angel Reese is leading the league in votes. Not only is the self-proclaimed Barbie not in the lead, Angel Reese isn't even close to making the top 10.
How does someone as visible and heavily promoted as Angel Reese, a rookie who's constantly in headlines, always trending, and backed by massive media, fall short where it actually counts? The fans? While Reese was everywhere online, Caitlin Clark, in her own storm of praise and criticism, racked up over 600,000 votes, more than triple what Reese received. This wasn't just a snub, but it was a full-blown reality check. And when you really break it down, look at the media ballots, the coaches' votes, and how fellow players responded, the truth becomes impossible to ignore. The hype was loud, but the support, it just didn't show up in the numbers.
And we saw from the popularity voting, remember, it wasn't just Caitlin Clark, it was me too. Angel was 13th in the All-Star voting. Well, everything I've been told, she should have been at least second.
Angel Reese was everywhere. Just a year ago, she was being hailed as the next big thing, a breakout star poised to redefine women's basketball. The headlines couldn't get enough. Social media crowned her the future, and the WNBA, they leaned all in on the hype. But when this year's All-Star votes dropped, Reese didn't just fall short. She wasn't even close. Sitting at 13th, her name was buried beneath players with less flash, but way more consistency. For someone once seen as the face of the league's next chapter, this was a hard crash back to reality. So the question is, where did all that momentum go?
11.3 points and 11.9 boards and a 38.5% shooter at 6'3".
That's right. Angel Reese is putting up 11.3 points, 11.9 rebounds, while shooting just 38.9% from the field. And those numbers, they aren't trending up. Her shooting has dipped from last season, and she's pulling down over a rebound less per game. Not exactly the upward trajectory fans were hoping for. At 6'3", Reese was expected to own the paint. But instead of dominance, we're seeing inconsistency. And when your name carries that much hype, average stats don't just disappoint, they raise eyebrows.
So it's been very up and down. All of her numbers, she's over 2 points a game behind last year, and basically a little over a rebound a game down, and that's supposed to be her strong suit.
Now let's look at what's happening around her. Caitlin Clark topped the All-Star fan vote with over 516,000 votes, nearly triple Angel Reese's 173,363. And the reason is clear, Clark is delivering. She's putting up numbers, leading her team, and producing highlight plays that turn into wins. Meanwhile, Reese's output hasn't lived up to the hype. When players with less media buzz but more reliable performance start jumping ahead of her in the voting, it's no mystery why fans and analysts are beginning to reevaluate her place in the league.
She not only was she not second, she was basically 3 times the amount of votes behind Caitlin Clark.
This is where the All-Star voting system tells the real story. Fans control 50% of the vote, but the other 50% comes from players and the media, the people who watch every minute, study the tape, and know exactly what All-Star talent looks like. And when it came to Angel Reese, she wasn't just low on the list, she was left off every major media ballot. That speaks volumes. Now compare that to A'ja Wilson, who wasn't just selected, she was unanimously named on all 3 media ballots. That's what happens when production meets respect. Reese might have the spotlight, but when the numbers don't match the hype, the votes reflect that.
The same Angel Reese who has been begging, and I mean begging, people on social media to vote for her? Angel Reese, number 13 on the list, 173,000 votes.
A lot of this boils down to reputation versus results. Angel Reese built a massive fan base online, and the media was quick to crown her the league's next big thing. But in the WNBA, clout doesn't count unless you back it up on the court. So far, the numbers just aren't matching the narrative. Her shooting has been shaky, and even her rebounding once her calling card has slipped. When you're hyped as the future face of the league, every off night hits harder. And right now, the reality isn't living up to the reputation.
A potential reserve, who would it be? Gabby Williams and Brittany Sykes. So Angel Reese couldn't even squeeze into a reserve spot. And now Megan Hall of USA Today, she left Angel Reese off her All-Star ballot.
Fans noticed, so did the media, and the players, they made it loud and clear. Angel Reese's absence from the All-Star lineup wasn't some random oversight, it was a wake-up call. The hype train pushed her name to the front of every headline, but the on-court results haven't matched the marketing. That disconnect is no longer something you can scroll past. It's front and center, from viral tweets to official voting breakdowns. So when Reese lands at 13th in the voting, it's not just about a couple of off nights. It's about big expectations and the reality that followed. In the WNBA spotlight, expectations are everything. And when production doesn't deliver, that shine fades fast. This All-Star snub isn't just a bump in the road. It's a message. The fans and the insiders want more than just buzz. They want results. And here's the twist. Reese didn't stay quiet hoping the recognition would come. She asked for it, loudly.
And the front court players, Boston, Nafisi Collier, Nika, Satu Sabali, Brianna Stewart, and A'ja Wilson. All right. And down here, Boston, Jonquel Jones, Alyssa Thomas. No Angel Reese, folks.
This wasn't a tight race or some controversial near miss. This was a landslide. Despite Reese publicly rallying for support, the gap in votes told a different story. The hype, it didn't convert. The fans didn't just ignore the noise, they tuned it out completely. When you're shooting under 40% from the field and still can't crack the top 10, it forces a serious question. Was it ever real buzz or just borrowed spotlight? The numbers didn't lie. They made people take a second look at everything they thought they knew.
This probably means she will not be a starter in the All-Star game, which would make sense because Angel Reese shouldn't be a starter for a regular season game.
And the scrutiny didn't stop with the fans. The media wasn't exactly rushing to save Angel Reese either. Reporters who once championed her rise were suddenly silent when it mattered most. Even Megan Hall from USA Today, who'd previously celebrated Reese's influence on the league, left her off her All-Star ballot completely. That speaks volumes. And Reese isn't alone. Paige Bueckers, often hailed as the closest thing to Caitlin Clark in terms of hype and upside, didn't even break into the top 5. The message? Crystal clear. Big names and big talk don't guarantee a spot, not in a league this competitive, and especially not when every vote is on public display.
Bueckers is number 6, which I thought was rather surprising. 3 months ago, Paige Bueckers was the only star in women's basketball not named Caitlin Clark. She entered the WNBA dump with a massive amount of mainstream notoriety, but as soon as she put on the hard hat, as soon as she was sized for the steel-toed boots, the second she took off the UConn jersey and exchanged it for the Dallas Wankers, Paige Beckers seems to have disappeared.
This was the moment the illusion around Angel Reese started to fade. The media painted her as a rising force, impossible to ignore. But when the votes came in, the story changed. Despite all the buzz, all the influencer praise, and the non-stop coverage, the actual support just didn't show up. It looked massive on the surface, but when it mattered, that hype wasn't deep enough to carry her into the All-Star spotlight.
The mainstream media has been trying to convince us that Angel Reese is a huge star. Some in the media even do investigative journalism and claim that Angel Reese is the face of the WNBA because she leads the league in followers on social media, along with missed layups and a complete lack of athleticism.
Caitlin Clark didn't have to beg for votes. Her game did the talking, and the fans, they showed up loudly. Meanwhile, Angel Reese's public push for support had the opposite effect. Instead of boosting her profile, it exposed the ceiling of her current appeal. The gap between what was being marketed and what she was actually delivering on the court was suddenly impossible to ignore. Even some of the same media outlets that once crowned her the next big thing started shifting their coverage elsewhere, quietly distancing themselves from the hype train they helped build. Now the question is out in the open. How did Angel Reese go from media sweetheart to being snubbed by the very voices that once boosted her? The answer isn't just found in box scores or social media engagement. It's what happens when hype meets reality. And the votes tell the real story.
Now, we know the media jumped through hoops, gymnastics, mental gymnastics. I mean, however you try to put it, they tried to raise up Angel Reese last year as being, of course, she's running neck and neck with Caitlin Clark for the Rookie of the Year. Except that wasn't accurate at all.
When you look at how Angel Reese went from being everywhere to barely in the All-Star conversation, it's impossible to ignore the media's influence. For months, platforms like Forbes were calling her one of the new faces of the WNBA, right alongside Aja Wilson, and Reese wasn't shy about it either. She boldly said, "People don't just watch women's basketball for one player, they watch it because of me too." She was all over the media cycle, trending on social media, lighting up headlines, and getting featured in national campaigns. The hype machine was running full speed and expectations were sky high. But the moment those all-star voting results dropped, everything changed. Suddenly, the same voices that were boosting her every move went silent. The media pullback was instant. Why? Because the numbers didn't just disappoint, they told a story no headline could sugarcoat. Reese averaged just 11.3 points per game, shot below 40% from the floor, and brought in 173,363 fan votes, landing her at 13th in total voting. Not exactly the return you'd expect from someone once dubbed the future of the league.
Still don't understand how she could be that tall and shoot that terrible from the field. I really don't understand.
Those numbers don't reflect a player dominating the league or redefining the game. What really drives it home? Both Sports Illustrated and USA Today left Angel Reese off their all-star ballots completely. That's a dramatic fall from grace for someone once labeled a can't-miss future superstar.
People are catching on, folks. People are catching on. Her fans can't defend the play anymore. And I guess members of the media are starting to give up.
All that media momentum came crashing into one harsh truth. The all-star ballots told a completely different story. Hype only holds weight when the performance matches. And when fans, players, and media all leave your name off their lists, it forces a serious reality check. The media tried to crown Angel Reese as the league's next icon, but the numbers never caught up to the narrative. Suddenly, the glowing headlines and feature stories felt disconnected from what was actually happening on the hardwood. You can spin star power all you want, but when the results fall flat, people catch on and they move on.
It was our understanding, from what we understood, she was going to be among the players, right? That's what the media has been trying to tell us, except the media is finally telling you. This is 3 members of the media, 2 from SI, 1 from USA Today, and they are saying she is not among the starters, in their opinion, in the WNBA All-Star game. They're not on these ballots.
And it's not just about Angel Reese anymore. The way the media flipped the script proves just how fast the spotlight can disappear. One day, you're the main attraction. The next, you're barely in the credits. Coaches and players sent a clear message by leaving her off their ballots. Fans noticed, and the message couldn't have been louder. Hype alone doesn't cut it. This wasn't just about performance gaps. It exposed something deeper, a credibility problem for the media, because now people are asking, were they reporting the truth or just selling a narrative?
I mean, we got to remember, they may put Angel Reese on their backs and try to carry her across the finish line, for crying out loud. But my goodness, what a difference. What a difference in the media from this time last year. People are finally catching on. Basketball fans, actual basketball fans that know anything about basketball, they've caught on. There's no doubt about it.
There's a different kind of pressure building now. The media's silence isn't just a pause, it's a red flag. The same outlets that once crowned Angel Reese the future of the league are already eyeing the next breakout star. And if the numbers don't start trending up, she could be yesterday's headline faster than anyone expected. This is her crossroads moment. Will she level up and prove the hype was justified, or quietly fade from the spotlight as the WNBA shifts its focus? Let us know what you think. Does Angel Reese bounce back, or is the league already moving on?
Actual basketball fans that know anything about basketball, they've caught on. There's no doubt about it.
The buzz surrounding Angel Reese proves one thing: media hype, no matter how loud or widespread, can't secure all-star votes if the performance doesn't back it up. Outlets like Forbes, SI, and USA Today may have pushed the narrative, but the All-Star snub sent a clear message. Fans, coaches, and even the media want results, not just reputation. So what's the verdict? Was Angel Reese overhyped, or is she about to silence the critics and flip the script? If you believe she'll bounce back stronger, hit that like button. And if you think the voters got it right, drop your thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe for more WNBA stories and deep dives.